Boy Nova Z to ENT coming back with a little different kind of video. Again, I'm diversifying. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna find my niche. I'm at 400 different video types, and we gonna get to this right. We're on the road to 100. If you could like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification. Everything you can do to help me. Comment, even if you hate me. You know, anything you do helps. Any engagement I would appreciate. Big shout out to my thick ass wife for sending me this TikTok. She said some of these, she sent it to me, and she said some of these are actually pretty good icks that I've never thought about. And I have, I read a couple of them, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta, somebody else gotta hear me talk about this, right? Like I love hearing myself talk, and you gonna love hearing me talk too, because we're gonna go through some of these, and we're gonna read these. So just in case I'm gonna link the creator in the thumbnail or in the description. I'm lying. I apologize. It's the I'm gonna link the TikTok in there so you guys can go enjoy it for yourself. Give her some give her some love or whatever. So it says, I'm bored. Tell me something that gave you the ick about a guy you were dating and had to end it. Give me your pettiest, most unhinged reasons, right? I haven't clicked on this video in a while. She sent this to me weeks ago, but I just remembered how funny it was. Like I'm still laughing at stuff I read. So let's go ahead and click these comments and see what we got popping. All right, so Grace says he sent me a video of him zooming in and out on his Alexa playing Dance Monkey. Immediate ghost. All right, that's okay. That's okay. I went on a date with this guy. He showed up 30 minutes late. The guy was weird and his nails were giving Nosferatu. Never again. Pretty reasonable. Pretty reasonable. When I cuddled him, his ribs poked me. Okay, that's tough. That's tough, right? Like, shout out to all my skinny kings out there. But yeah, most people want to feel like, a little muscle, a little fat on them, when they cuddle something. So I also would not want ribs poking me if I was cuddling somebody. Aubrey says he acted really feminine. Baby voice, girly mannerisms, wanting to be the little spoon. Hey, whoa, hey, it's okay to be the little spoon. Sometimes you just want to be held. There's nothing wrong with that other than it's just not my type. All right, well, he dodged a good one. If you don't want to let somebody be the little spoon. Cried because he cheated on me and had the audacity to try and beg for me back. Ghosted. That's a little bit trickier, right? Like, is the crying the reason why that you decided that's the ick, or was the cheating? I don't know. You gotta tell me. You gotta let us know. He was scared of whales and told me he couldn't float because his bones were more dense than most people's. Being scared of whales, orcas are pretty. I know they're dolphins, but that's a pretty valid fear. Water in general. Like, I couldn't go on a cruise just because I'm scared of like falling into the ocean at night and something gets me, right? And you can't convince me that there aren't some people's bones that are more dense than the average person. I have a hard time floating in water, right? And not that I can't, it's just harder for me. And you can't tell me that's not because my bones are dense. After a day of knowing me, he started giving me weird pet names. I don't know. Some people might be into my Pookie Schmookie Bear, an actual one he used. But that isn't me. I like nicknames like Darling, Love, and Sweetheart, but not that. A day after we met too? Yeah, that's a little forward. I'm not sure I like that. I had to beg him to put hand soap in his bathroom. Now this is the first absolutely, completely valid ick. What do you mean you don't have hand soap in your bathroom? So you just shitting, just wiping your shit up and then just using water? This is, like, people who don't use wipes scare me, right? Like, so you just, if I get shit on my arm, I'm not going to just use a paper towel. I'm washing my arm off because there was shit on my arm, right? But people take their two cheeks and then just smash them together after they wipe. And it's just, hot booty dust baking in there, But that's a valid ick. I accidentally removed him on Snap because he had a similar name and username to someone else. And he spam texted me a bunch of times, freaking out over it. And we had only been talking for a week. You see? No. Yeah, I gotta figure. I need to know how many times you think is spam texting, right? Because if you think everything's going well, and all of a sudden Snapchat, back in the day when people were using it, you could see in real time, like, the little person. Like, if you're typing in there and you can see a little person looking and stuff like that, that's a part of the game. So if you unfriended them on Snap, and he texts you to figure out why, yeah, just reply. Say, oops, my bad. Now, if he texts you like 45 times in like a couple minutes, that's fair. He would wiggle when flirting, and every flirting thing he did was feminine. Like I'm supposed to be the female dude here, dude. Bye. Wiggling is odd. Flirting femininely, I don't know. I see what you're talking about, right? I mean, because women think, just scooting a little bit closer to you in bed is sending signals. So I'd have to see what she's talking about. His brother was my cousin's illegitimate son. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Yeah, valid. He said that his ex was crazy and had poor self-esteem. I let him finish the story and then said, what did you do to her to make her that way? Ghosted him. There's some truth in that. Like, anytime someone says like they're not a problem or every ex they had was crazy, like, I'm gonna give you a different perspective. Like from the shoe on. Like if a woman says all of her exes were narcissists, that usually just means they didn't give her what she wanted all the time without question. If a man says all his exes are crazy, he probably is just a bad boyfriend. It is what it is. Ain't nothing wrong with that. A combination of the two. Sent me so many CapCut edits that were all him. One CapCut edit that was just him is enough to say, hey, you got to get out of here, right? Why are you sending me videos of you, edited, Like that's why when you see moms posting those thirst traps on TikTok where it's just a song and them looking at the camera in different poses. Imagine if you got one of those. That's very fair. He apologized that another guy felt comfortable enough to openly hit on me in front of him. I'm gonna need a little bit more context, right? Like, cause think about what he's saying. Like, if he's saying he's apologizing that he's not, in his element enough to make another guy feel comfortable hitting on you. Now, if he's saying like, hey, I'm gonna work on that, let me get my weight up, sure. But if he's apologizing that he has to go sit in the chair in the corner while his girl's getting hit on, very fair. Like, if you do something about it, he should have done something about it. That's the apology, Another person says he sent me CapCut edits of himself. That's crazy. That's a diabolical. It was his first time coming over. We ordered DoorDash, and when they knocked on my door, he ran and hid in the closet. What kind of ops does he have? Who is he running from that he has to move like that? Sweet Lord. He woke me up from a nap because naps are only 20 minutes and not 2 hours. I was in middle school. I'm not sure you can get icks from. I mean, it'd be weird if an adult did that. Not as weird if a kid does that. You're learning how the world works. Like a kid saying, if his mom told him that naps are only 20 minutes long, then naps are only 20 minutes long. If an adult male said that to you, yeah, we got a problem. He exists. Har. He told me my responses were dry when I was on my 12-hour shift and I ghosted him. Very fair ick. Yeah, for sure. If somebody's at work and they can't reply to you on your time and you're mad about it, you got to get more hobbies. Get more things to take up your time. His name was Waldo. That's tough. That's tough. Like, imagine like, G Herbo kind of made it. Like, luckily for him, he's one of the few people to, him and, young Dolph overcame their names, Herbert and Adolf respectively, but but like I couldn't imagine, somebody, hey man, hey yeah, my boy Theodore for chicks, like, there's some unscreamable names, Theodore, Waldorf, Thibodeau, Rick, there's just some real unscreamable names. He said money was tight, so I suggested a place that had good lunch specials. He asked me how much was it. Yeah, I couldn't get unicked. No, okay, well, good for him. Good for him. Like if money is tight and he's trying to take you out still, and yeah, he does the good one. Shame on you. I mean, it's your own ick ability to have an ick, right? But yeah, good for him. Good for him. His sunglasses looked weird. I'd need more context. I didn't like the way his hands looked when he was holding a cheeseburger at a diner. I get that though, right? Because like, you know, when people write, and like, you know, most people write like this, right? The people who write like this, like there are adults who still write like that. That'd be a tough, like, you know, you eat, how you hold something, like, you know, if you hold a burger like this, like I have that problem with tacos. Like, you know, you having to turn your head to eat a taco, you know, it kind of makes you submissive to the taco. Um, and there's no better way to hold it. And I've always feel like, you know, you gotta hold it in a way that if you bite into it, it's not falling all over the place. It's just a very, you gotta, I know, like look, you see, you know what I'm saying? There's too much going on. I understand. I can understand that. He was smack while eating, and food always flew out of his mouth. I just ghosted him. The smack while eating, annoying. Food flying out of your mouth like a child. Go ahead, get to stepping, get to stepping. We were only talking, but he had a squeaky voice and would try to make it sound deeper all the time. And he smelled like pork rinds and told me we were gonna watch the sunset, but wanted something else. What a weird thing to smell like. Like how smelling like pork rinds is crazy. He used the laughing emoji a little too often. Boy, she would hate me. She would hate to see me coming. I use that emoji often. Call it, call me the weekend. He kept asking okay if I was okay every 2 seconds when I was clearly annoyed. Well, why didn't you tell him that you weren't okay? Like if he's looking to try to console you, you know, put your big girl pants on and tell him why you're annoyed. Or if you're saying like, hey, I'm annoyed that you're asking me too often, just communicate. He didn't have a driver's license, but bought a car anyway. Then he had his mom put it in her name and made her drive him to work and Wendy's in it. Also still lived with his parents. He was 24. Well, ain't no shame in being 24 living with your parents. If I were smart, I would still live with my parents. I'm almost 40. With the way things are going, I would be able to cake up way more if I had never moved out. I moved out at 18. Terrible decision. Stupid. What a stupid kid I was. But not having a car or a driver's license and then buying a car and getting his mom to chauffeur him every day, it's tough. It's tough. You know what I'm saying? I got to drive myself everywhere. Yeah, I would love to have a driver. So I'm gonna say like you should have stuck around. That's a man who can get to a bag. You feel what I'm saying? If he can convince other people to do stuff for him, he can go places. He just needed your help. A few dates, but I once had to end it with a guy because he was Polish and had an accent exactly like my old lab PI, who I hated and was a horrible mentor. Okay, that's a tough one. Nothing he can do about that. What are the odds, unless you live in Poland, that he was Polish and sounded exactly like a guy you hate? That's a tough break. He fell asleep on my lap watching the Olympics. Wow, you don't deserve love, Emma. You definitely don't. That's crazy. That's cute. What are you talking about, man? Like, you know, he's up there, cuddled up nice and close. I wish my wife would have told me I can't sleep around her. That's crazy. Instead of saying hey, Hey, he would say hey, Hay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. He's got to kick rocks. Those are two completely different things. Okay. All right. I don't know if this is real. Sophia says he made me brush his teeth and tuck him in with a story. Tough. Was he sick though? Like, you know, you could break my arm right now. I could still go to work. If I get a slight fever, I gotta lay down and my wife gotta take care of me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she gotta give me the old stairs. She gotta put some Vicks Vapor Rub on my chest and put a cold towel on me, and I have to lay there in the dark for 17 days before I can recover from that. He used a singing AI app and would send me love songs of his AI altered voice singing to me. That's tough. I often wonder how people can be so dense or not be able to read the room, because I don't think anybody would like to receive that. And I'm sure if he received that from her, he'd think she was weird. Matched on Tinder. Our first meetup, I realized I was taller than him. I'm 5'2". Tough. Tough. I am not a tall person myself. I'm like 5'7", right? But I couldn't imagine being shorter than I am, you know. Because I gotta stand on my tippy toes to reach up in the cabinets. So being 5'1", oh my God. Yeah, he's not having a lot of luck. Different guy. He was mad I didn't. Different guy than what? Like, different guy than who? He was mad I didn't want to talk to him while I had strep throat. He kept blowing up my phone. Yeah, that's a little childish. Yeah, for sure. I found that he supported Trump. Well, yeah, okay, that's a valid one. Now, if you don't share political beliefs with your partner, it's not gonna work out. Again, if you don't share political beliefs with your partner, it will not work out. You don't know how many times I've heard somebody say, "Oh man, I like this chick, but she thinks this way." I'm like, bro, it's not gonna last. You're not gonna make it. You're gonna fight about everything. Once the snatch stops being fresh in your brain, you actually got to deal with the person. He called his bedroom his zen. Like what? I mean, hey, you gotta have a good personal space. You know what I'm saying? Another, he chewed with his mouth open and spit on me once. Spoke on with him that night. You stayed too long. Not that night. You should have done it right then, right when it happened. Said he wanted to pay for my hair appointment. The catch was that he got to pick the color. He wanted me blonde. Also, he wanted to take me shopping, but he had to pick the outfits. Okay. Yeah, he liked what he liked. Little Christian Grey action. Hey, you lost a good one there. He was about to pay for all your stuff. You feel me? He lost his phone and disappeared for weeks and never came back. Every time I check jail view, he's back in jail again. The fact that you even know what jail view is, I don't know what that is, right? The fact that you know what that is means you are dealing with a different type of man. You probably got to leave that alone. Leave that alone. He got into fights in Facebook comments. It's a great place to be. Who else do you want him to get into fights with? You in real life? What's going on? He doesn't kiss, but that's okay. I like his personality. But it's something I think about daily. Thankful my husband loves kissing me. That's... so you did... So the guy that you got the ick from didn't kiss, but that was okay because you like his personality, but you have a husband. Like, what? He said he didn't like my cat and he wasn't joking. Oh, well, that's not really an ick. That's a fair assessment. If you don't like a cat, then you tell him, kick rocks. I'm keeping a cat. You gotta get out of here. This guy was already trying to date me after one date, and I couldn't like him because he had such a ghetto voice. Oh, yeah, I get that, man. Like, there's some people with some really, people who can't articulate their thoughts and people who can't pronounce words correctly, even after you tell them, that's a huge ick for me. If you tell somebody like, oh, that's not how you pronounce that word, and then they go, oh, it's whatever, you know what I mean? No. Now that you know what the word is, you now have to, you're legally required to pronounce the word correctly. His nose would giggle so much when he would laugh. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what giggling nose is. Anybody out there in the world who could tell me what a giggling nose is? We were watching a movie for the first time, and he lifted up his arm and said, "Do you want to come here and try to cuddle?" Oh, yeah, to try to come. He was being assertive. What do you want to you want him to snatch you up? I don't think that would work either. Let's read a couple more of these for you. This is a little different kind of video. A little like something like. He actively talked about his types. I lost feelings for him, stopped cooking for him, and he had the audacity to complain that I wasn't cooking for him anymore. The first part, definitely weird to do. Like, if you're dating somebody, unless they ask. If somebody asks and you answer a question, that's on them. That you shouldn't ask any question you don't know the answer to. But if you lost feelings for him, stopped cooking for him, you should have broke up with the person. Like, of course he's gonna be mad that you stopped cooking for him. Imagine if he just stopped giving you hugs. Like, he's like, oh, you said something weird the other day, so I'm not giving you any hugs anymore. Like, that'd be weird. Let's do one more. Once ate food in my car, got crumbs and trash all over my seat, didn't bother to clean it. Another time he expected me to have everything for a hookup, didn't even offer me water or clean up. You always gotta... Oh, wait, okay, sorry. She means like offer him water at his crib and clean up his crib is what I'm assuming. I thought she meant something else. I thought, didn't offer to clean up. You know what I'm talking about. You feel me? Yeah, so, I just thought I'd go over some of these. I'm telling you, they're a lot funnier. They've been buried. They seem to have been buried, from the last time I read them. But there are some comments that have some heat. But, yeah, thank you for joining me on this new adventure. If I'm gonna do a lot more of these. I'm gonna find a lot more TikToks to react to and to read. Thanks for joining me on my first attempt. Again, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. 1.